What's everybody? Welcome back to the Gran Torino. Thanks for joining me. A couple of quick announcements before we get stuck into today's guest. I'll introduce him to you in a second. Just to let you know, the Gran Torino website will be launching this Friday. Intend to make that a media platform as an alternative to YouTube and a backup, because I fully believe in time that the YouTube channel will be brought down. So I encourage you there to join the mailing list. Come on over and visit thegrantorino.ie. We'll have contributing articles in there for you to read through. Also, all the videos, new videos and backup videos will be held there. We'll have some merchandise for to help fund the platform and try and raise the profile of the platform, so we can bring these conversations and other great conversations going forward in the future. So I want to thank you all for your continued support. Don't forget, if you're new, press the little like button, also the subscription button and the little blue bell. You'll be reminded of future conversations here at the Gran Torino. Today I want to introduce to you a speaker that spoke at the recent National Party Cumin. The video itself went viral. I think it's up to about 60,000 views now at the moment. But we want to I want to elaborate further on what my next guest spoke on. With that, Ciaran, thank you very much for joining me on the Gran Torino.
It's great to be here with you.
And great for inviting me down here to your beautiful home.
No problem.
Just to start off to my guests, you spoke at the National Party. Give me just a brief background. You were coming to the National Party. The way you spoke.
Yeah.
The effect is I really enjoyed the way you spoke because of an analogy, and it seems to have caught fire with a lot of people. Just a brief history.
Well, first of all, about the analogy, I did go with the kind of ship analogy because I think in order to make an impactful speech, it's got to be short, to the point, and people have got to be able to relate to it. There's one thing about, throwing out fact after fact after fact. You can throw facts out all day long. People don't really want to hear them. They don't want it to. There's just so much to take on board, and fact after fact after fact, which is very, very important, and we do that. But every now and again, sometimes you just need to bring it home a little bit.
Yeah.
Make it more palatable, and for people to just share something that you can get a message really quickly, and they don't have to get too in depth about it, but they get the gist of what's going on. In my opinion, the ship analogy, and I could have went further into it, and people have commented on even more ship analogies that we could have added on, like lifeboats and the elites and all this sort of stuff. But to keep it short and to the point, I think it was spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go through it again now, and I'll link in the description box down below to the YouTube clip from the National Party that Ciaran spoke at. Have a look through that, and you'll get a kind of a grasp of what we're speaking about here now. But just go through it again quickly. The point I was trying to make was that Ireland is being bombarded from many different angles. From every conceivable angle, we are taking hits from everywhere. We're taking it with, obviously, the abortion now. We're taking it with our court systems. We're taking it with Garda corruption. We're taking it with water fluoridation, with mass vaccinations, all these sort of things. 5G.
The education system, the 5G thing has got to be talked about, because it's probably one of the biggest things now that's going to hit the Irish people, and they don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
And they've been sold this idea that it's going to be the best thing. It's going to be the Internet of Things is going to sweep the nation, and it's going to make everything easier. If you ask me, it's going to stress people out more so than anything else. But it's also that your fridge can talk to your toaster, can talk to your watch, can talk to your car. It's a technology we don't have yet, and people miss it even before they even have it.
Yeah.
You know, so they're crying out for it. But the 5G, they're saying the 5G is the answer to get this. That's a blatant lie to begin with. Because the 5G technology is still far behind the fibre optic technology.
Yeah.
Fibre optic technology is 10 times better and has zero radiation.
And you have to ask yourself, why aren't people questioning this? Why aren't we running lines underneath? And why are we speaking about the harmful waves that 5G all around the world people are talking about?
The common man shouldn't have to worry about that.
No.
See, that's the problem. That's why we elect people and put them into power. We put a level of trust in them, those people, and we trust that they will make the right decision on our behalf. And that's where the breakdown is today. They're not doing it on our behalf. They're doing it for whatever other reason. I don't know, financial gain, for status, for power,
prestige,
for a cushy job in some higher office. they don't have the best interests of the people at heart. And when you have that divide, the people always suffer. Now, I always say, I don't blame anybody for not being interested in politics, because it's extremely boring, and it's a lot of it is rubbish talk. But when you see politicians saying one thing, and then the people just kind of go along with it, they should not have to worry. The people shouldn't have to think about politics. But now they're being increasingly forced to think about it, because they see the direction the country is going, and it's not a good direction in any sense of the word.
People are saying we're chasing after the GDP, the welfare of the country, or the barometer for the country is how well the GDP is doing.
Yeah,
in servicing debt. Now, I'm often criticised time and time again as being anti-immigration. I'm not anti-immigration. I'm for legal, processed immigration.
Exactly.
Who are you? What do you bring to the party? You know what I mean? And are you going to be a benefit to society?
It's a stick that the left throw at this, we'll say the right, if you like, all the time, that they're all anti-immigration. They're not. The right wing is not anti-immigration. It's monitored immigration. It's legal immigration. We can't just open the doors and just let the whole world in, because that'd be ludicrous. We are on this entire island. You've got 6 million people.
Yeah. According to Guinness, 15 on the pitch and 6 million behind.
Yeah.
But the year before we were at 4.7. So what are the actual figures?
Well, I'd say between north and south, around 6 million. There's no way on. I mean, we can speculate all we want, but an island of 6 million people, we can only take in so many. I mean, even if you've completely saturated the island, you're still only taking in a tiny proportion, and you help these people, and we do what we can for them and whatnot. But then what do you do to the people left outside? You go, oh well, we can't take you now because we're after taking everybody. So we're hurting ourselves, we're hurting the people we bring here, and when we're completely neglecting the people that are left outside. So it doesn't make any sense to begin with. As a small nation, and as a European nation, it would be more in our line to more or less educate the countries out there, other countries, and make sure that they have the means themselves to look after themselves. Yeah. We can talk about multiculturalism and bringing people in all we want. It's not going to solve the problem.
We'll get to there. Just I bring it back to the resources. How much of our gas stocks have we given away? How much of our fisheries that have been decimated at Europe? I mean, I know Herman in the Exit Party keeps talking about it. Sure, Justin and Neil in Renua and all the other likes talk about 200 billion since we've joined has been taken out of our fishing stocks, and none of our own fishermen can benefit from that. The big Spanish super trawlers and all other trawlers that are avoided.
It's all part of the European federal state.
It's ridiculous.
They're dividing everything up. They're trying to make Spain the breadbasket. They're trying to take away our fisheries, like even our boglands. If you look at the boglands in Ireland, we are not. They're trying to stop just the individual cutting turf and selling turf.
Yeah.
Now, for a large number of the Irish people, that's their heating. That's their energy for the winter, and they're increasingly trying to stop that. But on the other hand, they're licensing it out to Europe to dig out our bogs and export them to Africa, to create paddocks in desert land to grow potatoes, the GMO potatoes. In Africa, which won't reproduce. And then they're shipping them back into Europe.
And you'll find that the seeds of the GMOs as well are patented. So you can't just pick them out and grow them.
Yeah, but the soil that they take out of the boglands here and bring over there only lasts for one season, and then it turns to dust. So they have to take more out of the Irish bogs and send it over again. And this is all money, like. Yeah. And to try to stop the Irishmen from going and digging some turf to burn for the winter, yet they can take it out on an industrial scale and send it off to a different continent to grow food for a different continent. Yeah, it's absolutely ludicrous.
Again, if we had politicians and a government that was working in the best interest of the nation, and you say, "Oh, it's doing it now." No, it's selling off our resources.
You're selling off the resources,
right? And then we're chasing, as I say, we keep chasing the GDP. So we're importing more and more people to fill up numbers to create pressure on the housing market. I don't know whether by design or not, but vulture funds are coming in. Yeah. Draghi spoke this morning about interest rates going to have to go up because of the Brexit fiasco, which Leo has helped to nurture along, and his rhetoric has been very divisive. You know, like I've heard now that after Mary Lou's stunt in America saying England get out.
Yeah.
Now we've got up the north there. We've got some taglines up there. Ireland out, or Irish out of Ireland. All this kind of stuff. So
look, she's just creating tensions, and again, she's part of the cabal, if you like. Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael and Labour, they have to go.
Yeah, we have to talk about that. You were going to say that later on. This voting, the way we vote as a family. When my dad, his dad, we need to clear out these old school.
I think that will come to an end soon. That is definitely a baby boomer mentality. The younger people need to pull themselves away from these parties. They need to just cut the cord and walk away. Because everybody knows there's something wrong. Intrinsically, we can feel it. We can feel it. There's no connection to the politicians now at all. Now, it goes back to the ages. Had anybody ever got a connection with politicians? I'd argue possibly no. But the politicians of today, they're walking on us. They're walking on us. And it's time now for the youth to just get together and just peel themselves away from these parties. I'm not saying go and join the National Party, which I am. Go and join the National Party is the best one in my opinion. I joined up myself. But go with someone that's not in bed in Dáil Éireann right now, because they're all doing the same thing. They're all fighting for life. That's what I was going to say. There's no opposition. In Dáil Éireann there has to be an opposition. If whatever party is in government, the other party in opposition have got to oppose that. And that's by law.
Yeah.
And when you've seen the abortion referendum, for example, every single one of them were touting abortion. Oh, they should all have abortion. That is an argument to be had and a debate. But the point I'm trying to make here is there was no opposition. Even though Micheál Martin came out and he said, of course everybody should have the right to abort. That's not his say.
Yeah.
By law, he was supposed to oppose it, even if he was for it, as part of the opposition. He had to oppose it to give the other half of the Irish population a base.
Some sort of say.
He had to oppose it, and he didn't. The opposition didn't do their job.
You say by law. That's I reminded Tiger Reborn speaks about it as well. And I keep trying to drive back here as well. We need to start understanding our constitutional rights.
Constitutional rights
as citizens.
Everybody should read that book.
Everybody should read that book. And what the Yellow Vests are trying to do on their 20-point plan, and I remind you as well, is they want the Citizens' Initiative referendum brought back again. This was stripped out of our constitution in and around 37. Yeah. It was already given to us by our Padraig Pearse and the founding fathers, James Connolly, all the boys, they all agreed this Citizens' Initiative referendum where we could, or people that were based in this on the island could initiate and get the government if they had enough signatures to do it. Now the governments have all stripped that away,
direct
so we can't hold them to account.
No.
So what I'm trying to impress the people, I'm not advocating for any particular party. I cover them all. Vote with your conscience, but vote with an informed opinion.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You have inalienable rights. Inalienable doesn't mean just because the wording says it's God given. It means that no government, no man can take them from you. It's pretty much with the resources of the land.
Exactly. If you go back to the Constitution, it basically puts the individual and the family first, above everything else. But what governments or successive governments have done, they've whittled that away over the years, and they've made people believe that the state and the government is the ultimate power. Yeah. Which it isn't. It's not the ultimate power. They have power because we give them power. Yeah. But if you go back to the Constitution, which overshadows any government, the family and the individual is more important than any law. And a lot of people are saying this online now about the dwellings and the homes. Yeah.
The wording as well.
Yeah, I mean, have absolutely no right.
Sarah Jane, Ben Gilroy's in the courts.
Ben Gilroy's a great example.
Yeah,
a fantastic, and I commend the man. What a wonderful man! Like,
I'm prepared to go to jail for.
Yeah, he's willing to stand up for what he believes in, and what he's doing is right, and the people are backing him because he is doing the right thing. And even though the layman can't see it, but he's standing up for everybody. Yeah, he's standing up for everybody's rights. And as I said, the common man should not have to worry about this. Yeah. The common man should get up and do his day's work and go to just live his life.
Pay his taxes for the minimum amount of services, the day-to-day service, hospitals, roads, army.
Now, if every single person on the island was politically active, then we would just have one big giant government. Yeah. The whole idea of diversity is that everybody can do their own thing. You can have your shopkeepers, you can have your builders, you can have your journalists, you can have your just everybody doing their own thing. The government is there; they're put there to do a particular job. They're not doing it.
Yeah.
They're not doing it. And it's this movement that we're seeing now across Ireland and across Europe and across the Western world. This is basically the people, because all of the governments are moved over to the left now. All of them. This what we're seeing, the rise of the right across Europe right now is because the people standing up. The people are standing up and they're taking it back, and that's a natural occurrence.
Yeah.
You can't.
It's happened throughout the history.
Yeah, this has happened time and time again, back since the Egyptian Empire. But the people, they will always find a balance. They will always, if governments are centered, and as soon as they swing to the left, the people come up on the right. It's a weighing scale, and it's the very same as if it goes to the right, the left rise up.
The bell curve. As soon as the pendulum gets too far to the left, it has to come back.
It has
over.
to come back.
Now, both sides.
Exactly. So I'm not so much worried myself personally about, say, the federal state of Europe or anything like this, because it's going to break up soon anyway.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people saying we got to leave Europe. If you want to vote for that, great, or whatever. That's for the people to decide.
Absolutely.
But I don't see the point. It's going to break up anyway. It's fracturing as we speak. There's already a number of countries that are arguing to get out. Brexit, they're just making it impossible for Britain to get out so that they'll scare everybody else into staying. But the European Deutsche Bank is broke.
57 trillion in debt.
Yeah.
57 trillion in debt.
And this is not just Deutsche Bank. This is all of the banks. All of the banks are in debt. They've
allowed derivative bubbles to form. They've over leveraged.
If the last time I checked, it was 550 something trillion.
Yeah.
In derivative debt.
Oh, that's
now I'm going to explain what that is to people, because that's a mouthful. The derivatives are bets on bets. That's what it is in a nutshell. And after the 2008 bubble, after we bailed out the banks, we didn't fix any of the problems. The problems just extrapolated tenfold. And the derivatives bubble was the way to do that. They just kept investing in derivatives, and the more that invests into them, the more money they returned.
Yeah.
And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Ponzi scheme.
Ponzi scheme, if ever there was one. This is the biggest one we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Ever.
And it's huge.
550 odd trillion in derivatives.
The near enough collective wealth of the Rothschilds.
That number.
The collective wealth of the Rothschilds.
Yeah. Try to comprehend 1 trillion. I give this analogy, and I'll probably get some of these figures wrong, but wait to hear this. If you were to go back 1 million seconds, you'll go back 3 weeks. If you go back 1 billion seconds in time, you're going to go back 33 odd years. If you go back 1 trillion seconds, you're going to go back 33,000 years.
Wow.
And that's 1 trillion. And they're $550 trillion in debt, in derivative debt. This is a bubble the world has never seen before, and there is no finance to meet this. These are all digits on the screen created through fractional reserve lending. The money was just poofed into existence.
Do you think we'll see a global reset?
I haven't closed the book on it yet. I'm still trying to figure it out, and I'll tell you why. Because every major depression that we've had in the last couple of 100 years has been orchestrated. And all the booms and busts, they're all orchestrated to a point that, and the people have no idea. The people could never understand the amount of financial backing these things get. But even the Great Depression in the 1930s, after the Roaring 20s and the Depression in the 30s, that was all orchestrated after the creation of the Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
They wanted to take everybody's gold, and they handed out. They wanted to destroy Lincoln's greenback. Yeah. So
and Kennedy wanted to bring the silver and close down the Fed.
So what they did was they got rid of the greenback and they created the Federal Reserve banknote.
And for people that aren't aware of it, the Federal Reserve is nothing to do with the American government.
It's
a
not.
private
It's not
institution.
federal,
It's a private bank.
Yeah.
And that will lead on as well. Carry that on your thought there. But central banks throughout the world, people need to be aware.
Yeah, they're not government owned. And here that's where our money comes from. They create the money supply with fractional reserve lending. Fractional reserve lending is technically nothing, because if you the whole premise was that if you put €10 into the bank, they're allowed to lend out €100 on the strength of that 10. And then when that €100 is put back into the bank by the next person that borrowed it out, they're allowed to loan out €1,000 on that, and they're allowed to go 10 times. So the money is just being fabricated. And
I'll just kind of hone that little point in from my understanding as well. Not only is it created out of nothing, you're also immediately in debt.
Oh yeah,
because it's
they created
it.
With
so there's already
attached.
interest. You owe them plus the interest.
So the debt can
never be paid.
Once the dollar is created, it comes with a certain percentage of debt attached to it. But they don't create the currency to realize the debt. So even though the currency is in circulation, the debt is not. The debt hasn't been created. So even if you pay back all the money, the debt has still got to be paid. So how do you pay it? You create more money with more debt to pay the debt on the first one. So, and as I was saying, when we use fractional reserve lending, the initial €10 you put into the bank, that's the wealth. That's the wealth that was created. That's so if you make a chair for me, that's you've turned your labor into something tangible, and now that's wealth. That's something tangible. So I have to pay you now. So I have to pay you with money, not currency, but money. But we'll use the paper analogy to begin with because it's easier to explain. You put that wealth into the bank, and now they extrapolate on that wealth. So they're after diluting your labor by 90%. So when you put that's your labor going into the bank, and they make that 10 times. That's diluting your labor. So by diluting your labor, they get to skim off the surface, and they get to take a little bit of money for themselves. In this case, a lot. Yeah. And then they throw back the crap at you. So that's how the rich get richer and the poor get a hell of a lot poorer, and the middle class has been wiped out because of this. But the whole idea of money, the store of wealth, and historically it's been gold and silver. In some countries it's been oil, it's been grain, it's been different commodities. But the gold and silver is the store of value. It takes something like 1,300 man hours to mine 1 ounce of gold. Yeah. That's what gives gold its actual value.
It's the energy expended in extracting it from the ground.
And what holds it, why gold is so perfect, why it's God's money, is because it's finite, and it doesn't decay, it doesn't dissolve over time, and in 1,000 years that piece of gold will still be that piece of gold.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's fungible. It's pretty, and you can do things with it. It's a commodity in itself. But the thing about the gold, when it comes to being a money, a store of value, the gold itself is worth nothing. The gold itself is a container for the wealth that you create. And that's why historically it's been used as a money. Like, it is just a piece of metal. Yeah. But the fact that it's so rare and fungible, and that it is a store of wealth, it's a container. And your wealth is stored inside that tiny container. And in 1,000 years, you'll still be able to buy with that piece of gold what you'll be able to buy today. Yeah. To give you an example, in Roman times, 1 ounce of gold would buy a man a nice toga, a nice pair of sandals, and a nice piece of jewellery. Today, an ounce of gold will buy a man a nice suit, a nice pair of shoes, and a nice wristwatch. Because what's an ounce of gold today? I think the spot value is
1,400.
Oh yeah, euros. Yeah, in euros about 1,300 euros. Yeah. That'd buy you a nice suit, a nice pair of shoes, and a nice wristwatch.
But people have to realise that the gold and silver have also been suppressed. They've been held back.
Absolutely, well, paper
derivatives. Held back. Yeah, they've been held back. Not only that, I think it's Goldman Sachs have the second highest reserve of gold. They know what's coming, and silver.
Goldman Sachs, is it Goldman Sachs or is it JP Morgan Chase? JP Morgan Chase on paper now have 350 million ounces of silver. Yeah.
So they know that the derivative book. They know that
silver has never been stored in banks ever. No. In the history of banking, silver has never been stored ever. And on paper, JP Morgan Chase now have 350 million ounces, and that just begs the question: how much do they really have? And why are they storing silver?
Because it's going to go up more.
Well, silver. The historical value of silver was roughly about €940 in today's money.
Right.
And we can do the math on that. You see, if the Roman soldier was paid a tenth of an ounce of silver, that was his day's wages for a Roman soldier. So a Roman soldier was typically, it was a hard day's labour, carrying, fighting to the death kind of thing, and they were paid a tenth of an ounce of silver. And that was true all the way up until the early 1900s. Factory workers were getting the silver denarius, right, which was a tenth of an ounce of silver. And So if we take an ounce of silver today is, I think it's €15 spot price. I think you can buy the ounce for about 20. So at €15 spot price, divide that into 10, and you have about 150, give or take.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have it costs about €1.50 for a tenth of an ounce of silver. So basically, the Roman soldier was working for €1.50, or was it the other way around? And you take the tenth of an ounce of silver today, and you say that if a tenth of an ounce of silver was worth a day's wages, what's a day's wages today? An average hard day's labour, about €100, give or take. So 100 by 10, your 10th of an ounces of silver should leave an ounce of silver at about €1,000. So the historical value of silver, and even another one, I seen this online not so long ago, and it was a very good analogy. Judas sold out Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. Those are the silver shekels. There was about a half an ounce of silver in a shekel. So there was 30 of them, so that was 15 ounces of silver. And by that historical value, Judas didn't sell Jesus out for 30 pieces of silver, which is 15 ounces, which would work out at about €150. You wouldn't sell out your worst enemy for €150.
Yeah.
But if you work it out with the historical value, it'd work out about 15,000.
I want to jump away, and I want to steer us now towards the last segment of our plan. And I noticed this when I'm covering iRegs or if I'm going to any other different events. The main theme is that there's not enough people listening, not only on social media, but I think that's slowly beginning to change as well, Ciaran. But solutions, and I'm not going to put you on the spot here now as well and say, well, what do you think? As a broad stroke plan, what do we take the bridge back? Let's get back to the boat and finish on the boat.
Hashtag take back the bridge.
Take back the bridge. Hashtag.
It's not actually a big job. It's actually quite easy. It's once the people can take back power, you could turn it around in a matter of weeks. It's not a big job at all. This island can be saved easily. I don't like to say saved because it's not really. I mean, we're still here.
The course could be corrected.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're sailing towards danger. And what do you mean by danger? Mass immigration is going to cause untold damage to society as a whole, because there'll be fractional communities within communities.
Yeah.
We're
hurting the countries that these people are coming from. We're hurting those countries.
Exactly.
Well.
We're draining them of their resources. I keep saying the people.
It's like we're all hurting each other and we don't know it. As I said, it's like a train crash in slow motion. You can do nothing to stop it, but we can. It just means that you have to take the power away from the parties that are doing nothing to have the island. Put your faith in independence and in parties that are advocating for the plans that will actually put the country back on track. Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael have proven time and time again that they're just not trustworthy. And when I went looking for parties, I was looking at Identity Ireland, and I was looking at iRexit, and I was looking at a few other ones to see was there anybody that I could get on board with. And when I seen the National Party and I seen their mandate, I agreed with 90% of it, and I said, okay, right, well, I'm going to turn a blind eye to some and get on board with them, because like after getting involved with them and having meetings with them and talking to them, they really do have the best interests of this country at heart, and they do have a very comprehensive plan to fix it. And they're not closing the doors. They don't want to close Ireland away. They want to make Ireland a better country, and they can do it with the mandate they have and the passion behind it. And I've been to a few different commons now at the minute, and the people are great.
For our global audience, commons are
they're regional meetings across the country, the grassroots meetings of the National Party or in any political party process. So it's local people meeting up and hashing out different ideas together. So but what I see at these commons is they're all very young people. They're all very young. I think the average age now is about 31. So we have everybody from 17-year-olds up to 50-year-olds. And I see increasingly now, only in the last couple of months there's a lot of girls getting involved as well. And it's very great to see that.
It's encouraging.
Yeah, to see, historically it's seen as a man's kind of field, politics to begin with. but especially the ones where you're kind of breaking new territory. Girls tend to not want to get involved because, let's face it, it's boring and it's confrontational.
Politics should be a chore. You should want to get in there, do the best job
It
you
is a
can,
chore.
and get out.
It is a chore.
You know, that's the way it should be. But
Yeah.
it's becoming.
But I see it now. I see girls coming all the time, and it's encouraging to know that they actually want to get involved and they want to help, and they want to know what's going on. And I see that the whole time now, and I think it's very encouraging.
Yeah.
I see young lads there, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, and they're all getting involved. When have 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds gotten involved with political parties?
Well, look, we're going back to the education system then as well. I'm a great believer. As John explained beforehand, in the Murder Machine through Padraig Pearse, they left this academia that was defunct by nature, designed to demoralise ourselves, to see ourselves as uneducated, uncouth, and always this. But we are that close to being barbarians again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we're only 100 years, just over 100 years old.
Yeah, as a nation.
As a nation, we're still fairly fresh and young. So, you know, Brett and Law, I keep talking about Brett and Law, there's loads of alternatives, but we're hemmed in this box. Yeah. And the propaganda
we have got the ability to rule ourselves.
We can, we're nimble because we're small, we can react quicker, but if we don't react, we're gonna hurt ourselves. And that leads me on just in another sense. I was saying to you earlier on as well, I don't blame businesses for being businesses. I don't blame, you know, bigger supernatural international super states trying to enlarge and engorge themselves. I blame us, the Irish people, for taking our eye off the ball and not rejecting,
not supporting your local,
not supporting it.
Supporting the big
and you'll say, well, we've had these look time and time again at the failed policies and the amount of disasters, the amount of investigations, committees, tribunals that go on endlessly, and we just go, oh well, nothing's going to change.
Taxpayers' money.
Nothing's going to change if you keep voting for the same patsies, the same fools, the same corrupt individuals.
But don't get me wrong, there is some great people in politics. There is some wonderful people up there.
There are great journalists.
I don't want to paint them all with the one brush. There's some phenomenal people up there, but they're being drowned out. They're being drowned out. And I'd even say to those people, if you're part of Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael or any of these parties, come, and you don't like what they're doing, if you don't agree with them anymore, you don't have to stay there. You can come back to the right side. There's no problem. They can do that, and we will welcome them with open arms, because this is about Ireland. It's about speaking for Ireland and for the Irish people. And if that's what you joined up in politics for, well, stand up and be counted.
We've also got to make people aware that, you know, these benevolent NGOs that come around and they're steering our politics in a very nefarious sort of way. Now, this new leaflet that's just been signed up by every establishment party has signed up to this anti-racism, pushed on by ANR, funded by Open Society. The head of the helm is George Soros, who is openly known now to be trying to divisively split up the nation states. We are an island nation. We need to reclaim our nationhood and our country.
Look, if people are blatantly calling you racist online, they need to get a dictionary and you know, reread the definition of that word. They're using it. Like I haven't been targeted yet. Now I haven't been targeted.
I hope you never do, because it's not fun.
But I'm not out to slander anyone or anything. I'm all I want to do is share the research that I've done.
Yeah. And
I haven't incited anything I don't want to. I've got many friends from all over the world, from many different ethnicities, and I'm the best friends. But and you know what? They'd be the first people to email me and say fair play to you for doing what you're doing. No, I'm not inciting anything anyway, so I don't have to worry. I'm just saying what's.
We're having an open and what I feel is an honest conversation, a transparent conversation. The attacks online I'm getting and think that's feathers in the bow. My history is my history. My story is my story. The smears that I get and stuff like that.
Well, I've seen some of your stuff online, and they really do push you.
Well, they're going after me. Not only me now, they're going after my family and stuff like that. But it's not that I'm paying attention. I'm taking my eye off the prize. The bigger prize is waking enough people up to realise that our politics are broken and being usurped.
We need enough people. We need enough people to, as I said, we need enough people on the island to just step away from the parties that exist already. They need to just stand back and go, okay, right, fair enough, hands in the air. They're not doing what we put them there to do. Time to look for an alternative. And that's what I did. as I said, my family were staunch Fianna followers forever, going back right back to the foundation of the party, and they were great. Fianna Fáil were wonderful, but today they're not what they used to be. So
No,
I can't back them.
We're gonna keep hammering the tongue on that one there. My ethos or my logos or my pathos at the moment, and I want to keep it simple, because if I mention immigration, if I mention refugees, it's a simple attack. My thinking, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, I'll break it down in three. John Water spoke about it, Cathy Sinnott speaks about it, and I think it's a good hand down. Nation, family, God. You know, protect the three simple things that our Constitution is designed to protect.
Even if you're not religious.
Even if you're not,
it's more of a frame of mind.
Yeah, but the Constitution, even though it's in reference in Christian terms, we have to realise that the courts work on the words of words. We mentioned dwellings with Ben Gilroy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They won't mention the word dwelling because it's protected under the Constitution.
Yeah.
They were listed as a private or a commercial premises.
Yeah.
And if you agree to that, then they will take that away from you.
Yeah,
it's all word wizardry. Yeah. Dwelling, just only mention the dwelling. It's protected. The rights of the family are protected. Yeah. But they're stripping it away. Every referendum, they're coming again. They're looking for up to the 7th referendum so far. Yeah. Trying to change. But just people need to realise that every referendum that they have, for every one thing that they're taking out, they're putting in two other things that are subverting the Constitution. They're destroying it.
We have one of the most amazing constitutions ever written. Yeah. Our Constitution makes the human being sovereign, which is unheard of. We are the sovereign.
No man can give you your rights. They're inalienable. You're given to you. Some people say they're given to you by God. Yeah. But if you look on the scientific, or if you go from the atheist perspective, no government gave you this right. You already had them.
But we are the sovereign.
We are the sovereign
of this land. Yeah. And the law, that terrifies the law. Because the law basically has no standing over a
common
sovereign.
law, constitutional rights.
Yeah. See, we operate under maritime law, and I won't get into that because it's a long story. But I would encourage anybody who's interested to look up maritime law. It's the law of the sea, and that's what we are governed under now, is the law of the sea, and that the court systems are literally vessels in dry dock. So you're voluntarily stepping in. But I would encourage people to look that up as opposed to common law, because there's a lot to maritime law and a lot of ways of
the likes of Tiger Reborn, the likes of Ben and his campaign, Gemma O'Doherty on her anti-corruption campaigns. Regardless of what you feel of the individuals or the personalities, look at the context of what they're trying to point you in the direction of. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like here, I'm gonna kind of brind this up here now, because I feel, as I said to many of my other guests, I think we'll rehash this. We'll come back at a future date, and I wish you every continued success in your business ventures or whatever you're doing going forward. And I know that you've been approached by many people, and I wanted to say thank you personally for choosing the Gran Torino to come back and speak. And I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Definitely look forward to have Ciaran back and having more of his insights on what's going on in the country. Just going to finish off on the point, just look out for next week or two. Hopefully we get a bit of testing. The Gran Torino website will be up and running. GranTorino.ie. I'll be using that as a kind of a media hub to try and circumvent the censorship, demonetization of YouTube. I want to reach out and give a great big thanks to all my Patreon subscribers. I'm going to ask you to transfer over to the subscription-based website. More plans will be revealed as we go forward. Please continue to support the platform via PayPal. We can keep bringing these conversations, elevating the platform with new equipment, new premises. You know, as the great Owen Benjamin says, give a tip to the bear, feed the bear. Give the Gran Torino some fuel tokens, if you will. You know, whatever you can afford. Even if you can't afford €1, €5, push something towards that. Drive us to give us the voice and the means to come back and travel the country and show different people with different insights around the country. Because social media is going to be the counteractive to mainstream, which is not informing the people properly and is being used by the state. And businesses are only keeping them afloat. Their numbers are falling and we are only rising. I ask patriots to get on board and support this platform and any other platform that you agree. Vote with your conscience. And again, quick there, thank you again. Strong beard as well. That's why I wanted to finish as well. Strong beard. See you again on it. Don't forget to press the like button, subscription, and the little blue bell. You'll be reminded of future conversations. Thank you very much for joining us. See you on the next Gran Torino. Wuss.